Okay, so here's the putting together of the mark scheme for June 2012 paper 2, calculator allowed paper. You can see here that using the same grade boundaries we've used up until now, you need to be getting pretty much, if you can get everything right up to question 13, then you should be well in line for a grade C. Okay. So, Theo orders some clothes from an online catalogue. He buys 4 pairs of jeans, 5 shirts, 8 packs of socks and 2 pairs of trainers. So the jeans have already been filled in. So then we go to the shirts. So it's going to be 5 lots of £7.62, which is 38. And remember, you've got to put the extra 0 in for pence. So it's going to be £38.10. 8 times £3.75, £11.75, and 2 lots of £25.99, which is £51.98. So we add those up to get the total, and remember, a common mistake is that you add up the ones that you've written in, but you forget about the one that's already printed there. So let's do that one first. £49.32 plus £38.10 plus £11.75, £51.98. So £151.15. So there'd be 1 mark for each of those calculations. The site gives a 5% discount. How much discount does Theo get? So that's the important thing, is that we're working out what the discount is, not how much the bill comes to. So 5%, write 5% as if you were writing 5 pence using pounds. So that would be 0.05 times your £151.15. Still on the calculator, so you can just press times 0.05. So that's what the calculator says. Now you need to round that off to the nearest penny. So it's either going to be £7.55 or £7.56. Next digit over is 5 or more, so it's £7.56. If the question had said how much does Theo pay, you would do £151.15, take that away. But for the question, that's all you need to do. So you do have 1 mark for the right method and 1 mark for correctly writing it to 2 decimal places. Metric unit, so we don't use feet or inches. It's meters for the length of a hockey pitch. The capacity of a fuel tank is in metric litres. Gallons would be imperial, so that wouldn't be allowed. So capacity is litres. The distance from Paris to Rome would be kilometres. And the weight of a large dog would be kilograms. And if you put ml, km, kg, that would be fine as well. So 1 mark for each of those. Okay, for this we are counting squares that are more than half covered by the shape. So, and as I've told you before, put dots so the examiner knows which ones you're counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 16, 17, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57. So 58 is my estimate. you would, if you'd included that one or that one, that would have been okay as well. They'll have a range which would be satisfactory. So the above shape has been drawn on a centimetre square grid, so we haven't got to multiply by anything. And in this question, we haven't got to write the units down because it's given. So it's just going to be 58 square centimetres. So you're going to have a mark for the method of counting squares and putting the marks in, and one for getting within the right range. So total for the page, 4, 6, 10, 12. Okay, so the symmetry question, as I've done with other papers, I would turn that around so that I got the shape coming towards me, and then look for the points, first of all, the corners where the shape changes direction. So that's the first one. It's 3 squares that side, so that's going to go to 3 squares that side. This one is 5 squares, so it'll be 5 squares this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there's another straight line which goes to there, which goes to there. So I then join up the straight bits first of all, and then worry about the curve. So that goes to there. That goes to there, and that goes to there. So you can get 1 mark for doing all that bit right, and then let's take a look at the curve. So the curve comes around to that point, like that, and then it comes like that. No, it doesn't. Idiot. It goes this way. Okay, so you can see now why I say and say and say use a pencil. Okay. So you can see there, it's easier to notice when you've got that line running up your eye line that that was going in the same direction as that. Got to be wrong. So you can see that the shape was wrong. So 1 mark for the straight lines, 1 mark for getting that curve correct. 2 marks. Okay, special name for each of these shapes. That's a 3-dimensional shape. It's a cylinder. This is a polygon with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. So it's a pentagon. And that's another 3-dimensional shape. It's a prism, and it's a triangular faced prism. So it's a triangular prism. 3 marks, 1 for each of those. 5 for the page. Okay, special types of circle names. Distance from the center to the outside is called a radius. A line that cuts the circle but not through the center is called a chord. And a line that touches the outside of a circle is called a tangent. 3 marks, 1 for each of those. Okay, draw all the lines of symmetry on each of the following patterns. So there are 3 marks, so there are going to be 3 lines of symmetry. With this one, again, if you turn it so that that diagonal is running along your eyesight, you should see that there's 1 along that diagonal and 1 along the other diagonal. So let's draw those 2 in. So there's 2. 1 along there. And 1 along there, which probably means there's only 1 on this one for the 3rd mark, and hopefully you can see that that is only going to be symmetrical vertically through the center. So there's 3 marks for that, 1 for each line. Okay, equal to 0.4. So 0.4 is 40% as a percentage, or 4/10. And again, the clue here, there's 2 marks, so there's probably 2 of those, which is equivalent to 0.4. So where is the other one? Where is the other one? I've gone brain dead. It's this one. Okay, that is the same as 2/5. Yeah, if you divide both of those top and bottom by 2, you get 2/5. If you divide that one by 2, you get 2/5. 2/5 is 0.4. 1/5 is 0.2. So that is the second one. Shade 25% of the following figures. You're looking to shade a quarter of it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal slices to that figure, so a quarter of it would be 2 of those. The easiest way to see it is just if you shade in the 2 together there, you can see that that's a quarter of the shape, but any 2 shaded in would give you that mark. And part C, what fraction of the following shape is shaded? So how many blocks are there in the full shape? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 3, there's 15. So the fraction is out of 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 15 is the fraction. That would be 1 mark. To write it in its simplest form, just like up here, you can divide both of those by 2. By 5. You divide top and bottom by 5 to get 2 out of 5. And there you can divide top and bottom by 2 to get 2 out of 5. Here you can divide top and bottom by 3. If you divide the top by 3, you get 2. If you divide the bottom by 3, you get 5. So as a fraction, in its simplest form, it's 2/5. 1 mark if you cancel it down correctly. Total for the page: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, so we're into the F grades. Dean thinks of a number. He multiplies his number by 4 and subtracts 12. The answer he gets is 20. What is the number that Dean thought of? So when you do going backwards through a number machine, which is what we've got to do here, we've got to go from the outcome or the output to the input. You work backwards through the machine, doing the opposite each time in the opposite order. So we're going to go from 20. First of all, we're going to add 12, which is 32. And then we're going to divide by 4, which is 8. Okay, and then if you want to check you've got it right, 8 times 4 is 32, take away 12 is 20. I know the answer is 8. 1 mark for the method of reversing the operations, 1 mark for the answer. Single stage equation, you want to get the x on its own, so you have to get rid of and take away 7. The way you do get rid of a take away 7 is add 7. You have to add 7 to both sides. So if you add 7 to the left hand side, you're left with x. You have to add 7 to the right hand side. So x is 11. 1 mark. Okay, so we've got a balance. So the weights of those two added together must be equal to the weight of A, otherwise it wouldn't balance. Now the same packages are balancing here, so what you have to deduce is that B plus 8 kilograms is the same weight as 3 lots of B. So those, if you've got 1 lot of B, 1 lot of B there, those 2 B's must be equal to 8. So each B box must weigh 4 kilograms, because 2 of those will add up to 8. So B must be 2 kilograms, 4 kilograms. And if B is 4 kilograms, then A must be 8 plus 4 equals 12 kilograms. Okay, so the 3B there must be the same weight as 1B and 8 kilograms. So you could take a B box off there and a B box off there. So then you got the 2 B's are equal to 8, so 1B is 4. Once you know that that is 4, that means that this is balancing with 4 and 8, which is 12. So you're going to have 2 marks for getting the B and 2 marks for getting the A. Okay, describe in words the rule for continuing this sequence. So what is happening? 2 times 4 is 8. 8 times 4 is 32. What's 32 times 4? 128. So in words, what is happening is that previous number multiplied by, and use the word 4, not the digit 4. D1. The rule connecting T and V is 75 take 6V. Find the value of T when V is 8. So we're in algebra, so the 6 and the V are joined by a times that isn't written because it looks like an X, but when we replace the V by a number, we have to work out, we have to put the times in. So it isn't 68, it's 6 times 8. 6 times 8 is 48. So we have to do 75, take away 48, 27. 1 mark for the substitution, 1 mark for the answer. Petrol costs X pound a litre. Write down in terms of X the cost of 45 litres. So if it's X pound per litre, 2 litres would cost 2 lots of that, 3 litres would cost 3 lots of that, 45 litres would cost X times 45, or 45X. A car is Y years old, another car is 3 years younger. So if the car was 10 years old, the other car would be 7 years old if it's 3 years younger. What did you do? You took the 3 off. So what do you have to do with Y? Take the 3 off. 2/7 of 28. First of all, find 1/7. Which would be 28 divided by 7, which is 4. So 1/7 is 4, so 2/7 will be 4 times 2, which is 8. So you'll have 1 mark for finding 1/7, 1 mark for finding 2/7. Wendy earns £1,200 in her part-time job. She receives a pay rise of 4%. How much is the pay rise? So 4% written in pounds, 0.04 times the 1,200. £48. Now check with the question. How much is the pay rise in pounds? That's the pay rise. So you do no more work. If the question asked you how much does she now earn, then you would add the 48 onto the 1,200. But in this case, you don't need to do that. 1 mark for the method, 1 mark for the answer. total for the page, 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 marks on that page. Question 8. The number of points scored by each of 8 teams in a quiz was as follows. So the first team scored 80, the next team scored 59, and so on. Find the range of the number of points scored. Now, in order to find the range, you need the biggest and the smallest. In order to find the median, you need to have them in order. So let's put them in order straight away. So in order, we are going to have the smallest there is 35, then 45, then 59, then another 59, then a 62, then a 73, then a 79, and finally the 80. So that's then put in order. So the range is going to be 80, take away 35, which is 45. The mean, you need to add them all up. So 35 plus 45 plus 59 plus 59 plus 62 plus 73 plus 79 plus 80. So let's do that. 35 plus 45 plus 59 plus 59 plus 62, 73, 79, 80, 492. Then you divide that by the number of data items you've got, which is 8. 61.5. Now that should be an answer which is somewhere in the middle of your data. So if you had an answer of 23, probably wrong. If you had an answer of 150, you've probably done something wrong. But 61.5, if you look at the order there, is about right. 59, 62. So I'm quite happy that I got that right. The median is the middle value once the data has been ordered. But because there's 8 teams, there isn't a middle value. It's the middle between the 59th and the 62nd. 59th and 62nd will have 3 that side, 3 that side. So what you then do is you have to work out what's halfway between those two. And the way that you do that is by adding the 2 together. So 59 plus 62 equals 121 divided by 2 is 60.5. So the median is 60.5. 1 mark for the range, 1 mark for adding them up, 1 mark for the correct division, 1 mark for the answer, 1 mark for realizing there are 2, and 1 mark for finding the middle of the 2. Louise and Tim went on holiday to a campsite in France. Figure on the page. They changed £1,200 into euros when the exchange rate was £1 to 119 euros. How many euros did they receive? So for every pound they have, that's how many euros they get. So if they had £2, they'd get 2 lots of that. £3, 3 lots of that. £1,200, 1,200 lots of that. So that's the sum, that's your method mark. So 1428 euros. Whilst on holiday, they went on a day's outing which cost 404.6 euros. What was the cost of the outing in pounds? So we're going to go backwards now to turn, if we're multiplying by 1.19 to go from pounds to euros, to go the opposite way, you would do the opposite of multiplying by 1.19. So you would do 40460 divided by 1.19. £340. So 1 mark for the division, 1 mark for the answer. Total for the page, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay, so we're into D-land. Diagram shows 6 identical circles and 6 identical squares inside a rectangle. The diameter of each circle is equal to the length of a side of each square. Each square has an area of 25 square centimeters. Find the perimeter of the rectangle. So in order to find the area of a rectangle or a square, you multiply the length by the width. So that side times that side gives 25. Because they're both the same, I'm looking for two numbers which multiply together to give 25, which is 5, or square root of 25. So each square has got a side of 5. Area of square equals 25. So something times something times itself equals 25. So something is 5. Okay. Now the diameter of a circle is the same as the length of the side of each square. So diameter equals 5 centimeters. So what that means is AB, that's 5, that's 5, that's 5, that's 5, that's 5, that's 5, and going in this direction, that's 5 and that's 5. So length AB is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lots of 5, which is 30 centimeters. Length BC is 2 lots of 5, which is 10 centimeters. So the perimeter will be 30 plus 30 plus 10 plus 10 equals 60, 80, and the units, it's not asking for the units, there's no mark for the units, but for perimeter it's distance, so it's centimeters. So you'll get 1 mark for coming up with the size, the side being 5 centimeters. Then you get 1 mark for the 30, 1 mark for the 10, and 1 mark for the 80 centimeters. In an election for head boy, Andrew received 69 votes, Barry 30, and Kevin 51. What percentage of the votes did Andrew receive? So the first thing we need to know is how many votes altogether. So the total votes are going to be 69 plus 30 plus 51, 150 votes. So just like if this was a mark on a test paper, out of the 150, Andrew got 69 out of 150. So as a fraction, that's what Andrew got. To turn it into a percentage, you times that by 100. And on your calculator, you would type that in exactly as you see it. So here's your fraction button. 69 over 150 times 100 equals 46%. 1 mark for the method, 1 mark for the answer. The total cost of 6 copies of a magazine and 4 copies of a journal is £29.04. The magazines cost £3.12 each. Find the cost of 1 journal. So we know how much the magazines cost, so we can work out how much the 6 magazines cost in total. Would be 6 lots of £3.12. £18.72. So if we take the £18.72 off the total bill, that'll tell me how much the magazines cost in total. Sorry, journals. Will be £29.4. Take £18.72. £10.32. So I know that there were 4 journals, so in the cost of each journal, so that's 4 journals, so each journal I want to see how many times 4 goes in to £10.32. Still on the calculator screen, so I'm going to say divide 4, £2.58. So 1 mark for, or 2 marks for getting to the £10.32, 2 marks for getting £2.58. 4, 6, 10 for the page. Okay, so we have to now do a couple of compass constructions. Using a ruler and a pair of compasses, construct an angle of 60 degrees at the point A on the line below. So you're not allowed to use a protractor, just a compass. So this is a technique that you just need to learn and practice. You put the compass point on A and you open it out and you draw part of a circle like that. Then you don't change the size of your compass and you put the point where the arc of the circle crosses the line like that, and you do another arc there. Where the line from A goes through that double cross produces an angle of 60 degrees, and that is something that you need to be able to draw. If it had asked you for an angle of 120 degrees, then what you would have done is where that cross is, instead of drawing the line, move the compass point to there and gone again. Put an arc over there, sorry, put an arc over there, and where that crosses, that would then give you a 120 degree angle. If you then wanted a 90 degree angle, you would put the compass point there and draw an arc above, and there and draw an arc above, and that will give you a 90 degree construction. But they just want a 60, so that's your method. For a perpendicular bisector, it's another one that you need to learn. You put your compass point on P, you open your compass so that it's more than halfway along the line, and you draw an arc above and an arc below. Then without changing your compass, you move the point to Q and you connect those two. And where those lines join, like that, that is a line that is exactly halfway between P and Q and is also at right angles to P and Q, hence the perpendicular bisector. So you've got 1 mark for the right construction, circle mark, 1 mark for getting it right, and the same here, 1 mark for the correct attempt at the arcs and 1 mark for drawing the correct line. 4 for the page. And finally, in this first part of the paper, which takes us to the C grade questions, Quadrilateral, you need to know that each of those angles, all of the angles inside there add up to 360. So we can work out that angle there. That angle is going to be 360 less 56 less 128 less 103. So 360 less 56 less 128 less 103. So that angle inside there is 73. And then this is a straight line. So the 73 and the x have to add up to 180. So x will be 180 take away 73. 107. So x is 107 degrees. So you can have 1 mark for working out the 73, 1 mark for taking that away from 180, 1 mark for your final answer. So that takes us from the start of the paper right the way up to all of the D grade questions. In the second clip now we will look at the C grade questions.